Welcome to this video where I'll be walking you step by step through the uncrating, assembly, and test run of the G0449 37-inch drum sander. Now please note that this video applies also to the 15 horsepower G0450 drum sander as well, with some small changes because that machine is actually a 3-phase machine. You'll be able to quickly reference when we're speaking of the G0450 simply by the orange border that you'll see around the screen, like this. Uncrate your machine and inventory the items, which include the drum sander itself, the control panel, and a hand wheel, plus the top cover. Also included are some essential tools and items shown here. Before we jump into the actual assembly steps, let's take a look at placement of your machine and its power needs. When fully assembled, this machine is nearly 6 feet wide and more than 4 feet long. Plus, you need to consider the absolute maximum length of workpiece you intend to run through the machine when factoring its placement in your shop. Another important consideration is power. Both the G0449 and the G0450 require a 60 amp circuit for operation at 240 volts, and that should always be hardwired. The G0450 is a 3-phase machine, and Grizzly does offer a 480 conversion kit, which will be linked in the description below. Electrical components are sensitive, so be sure to follow all the instructions in the user's manual that came with the machine, or the one that's on grizzly.com. And if you have any questions regarding the electrical components, please call our tech support line for help. Back to the assembly of this machine. Before removing the machine from the pallet, let's assemble the components by installing the top cover first. To do this, remove the 6 cap screws that are in place already. Place the top cover on the sander and connect it to the hinges. With an assistant, hold the top cover up and install each gas strut with the jam nut. Close the top cover, then head to the pulley cover and remove the lock knobs. Rotate the V-belt down and listen for any scraping sound. Sometimes the dust housings around the drums may shift during transport, so you'll want to ensure that there's no contact. Next, time to move on to the control panel. Remove the hardware from the control panel's support arm. Then, with the help of an assistant, lift the control panel into place. Then, connect the support brace. The final assembly step is to connect the hand wheel, then we're ready to lift and place the machine. Carefully remove the machine from the pallet and place it. You can also anchor the machine to the floor using cinch anchors or leg screws, though it's not required. The next stop is connecting to power. Always remember to have the power shut off at the circuit breaker before touching any electrical components. First, you'll need to remove the junction box cover on the rear of the machine. Feed the power cord through the strain relief and tighten it. Connect the line as shown here on the G0449. Then, reinstall the junction box cover. For the G0450, when using a phase converter, you'll want to connect the manufactured power leg or wild wire to the L2 terminal shown here. The L2 terminal can handle the power fluctuations because it's wired directly to the motor, while the remaining wire must be connected to the controls because they need consistent power to prevent damage. With the electrical looking good, it's time to check the gearbox oil by looking at the sight glass in the back of the gearbox itself. If the gearbox needs some oil to get to the fill line, follow the instructions outlined in the included manual, and it will need to be changed every 500 hours of operation, and you'll want to check that routinely as well. Now it's time for a test run. The test run consists of verifying that the motor powers up and runs correctly, that the motors turn in the correct direction, and that actually applies to the G0450, which is the 3-phase that can be wired out of phase, and we'll also take a look at verifying that the emergency stop works correctly. To start, push the emergency stop button in, then twist it clockwise to ensure that it pops out. When it pops out, the machine is reset and ready for operation. Next, press the conveyor start button. If any problems occur, immediately press the e-stop button. Now with the conveyor start button pushed in, it's time to push the conveyor stop button. That should stop the machine. Next, press the sanding drum start button followed by the sanding drum stop button. The sanding drum should start, run smoothly, then stop smoothly. For this next part, press the emergency stop button in, and without resetting the switch, press the conveyor start button. The machine should not start. If the machine does start with the e-stop pushed in, immediately disconnect the machine from power and contact our technical support team for help. The final test run check is the emergency stop bar. Reset the e-stop button and press the conveyor start button. Then press the emergency stop bar in. This will come to a complete stop. The emergency stop bar should only be used during emergencies, as the stop switch can wear easier if used for regular shutdown. Next, it's time to hook up dust collection. We recommend a dust system with a minimum of 1600 CFM to be used with this machine, and it's important to keep in mind that there still may be residual dust on the workpiece as it exits. So don't worry, this is normal. This drum sander features 4 4-inch dust ports on the top cover, and you'll need to connect a dust line to each. With each of those systems functioning, your drum sander is ready for use. So familiarize yourself with the basic controls of your machine, grab a couple sandpaper grid options, and you're ready to go. Thanks for watching and for bringing Grizzly into your shop, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.